Hello, my name is Aditya, and my topic of presentation is transcriptomic analysis of CD4 plus T cells to recognize gene signatures regulating HIV infection. So, a brief about what is HIV and AIDS. So, the human immunodeficiency virus, commonly known as HIV, is a type of retrovirus that infects human and causes acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS. And AIDS is a condition in which the immune system of human it fails and allows other infection to overtake the host, which ultimately leads to life-threatening situation. And this is basically when the level of CD4 cells decline below a specific amount in system. It leads to the loss of cell-mediated immunity, developing AIDS. Now, HIV infection, it primarily targets CD4 plus T cells, enters it and reverse transcribe its RNA into a double stranded cDNA that enters the nucleus and overtakes the host genome. Now, integrating itself with the viral genome is followed by the infection. The genes are transcribed, which in step produce virons and assemble new viruses. The antiretroviral drug targets active viral replication and prevent further replication. Now, what is HIV latency? The main part of the project which it revolves around. Now, some of the times the HIV virus infects a T cell which can live long enough to revert back to the resting stage and is not being disintegrated by the immune cells or is not being disintegrated in general. Now it traps the HIV gene into its genome, and now this HIV genome is not active but act as a reservoir in the body which causes HIV latency. Now the antiretroviral drugs only target active viral replication. They are ineffective against this type of latent provirus, and it is generally found in memory CD4 plus T cells, allowing latency virus to persist within infected individual for decades. Now, when the latent cell are exposed again to certain antigen or cytokines, this proviral transcription gets reactivated and again causes a rebound infection of HIV. And this is mostly seen in those patients which stop taking their medication after they have recovered from the primary HIV infection, which makes it very difficult for a HIV patient to live without the medication. Now, the main problem is that HIV can be treated with hard drugs and the patient can live a reasonably healthy life unless the HIV reinfects the patient and everything is degrading again. So, is there a way to break the latency of HIV gene in our CD+4 memory cell, which and if there is a way, then how we can eliminate it altogether? Now the data set I took is contained in overall 38 number of samples, in which 6 of them are control samples taken at different weeks after reactivation. 6 of them are the HIV positive, again taken at different time interval in the period of activation. And the remaining samples are divided into two category, the control and the positive HIV positive, and also taken in different times and depends on which of a reactivation agent is used. For example, there is a use of disulfiram, there is the use of interleukin 7, CD28, and there is the use of CD3 agents. There is also azacitidine used. Now the methodology we used was mostly the tools were provided by the T-Bioinfo server. Where was the analysis done, and the data we fetched from the NCBI website with accession number GSE9. So the data we took had accession number of GSE 95297, and it has some unique features that the data was divided based on two types. First being the time of the sample taken, and second being the type of reactivation agent we used in vivo, so which make our sample set very diverse. The PCA analysis, the DEG, differentially expressed gene, and the gene ontology analysis were done to find out highly expressed gene and important pathways which are involved in this process. Now, the principal component analysis pipeline, uh, we did quantile normalization on the RNA-seq data, and the PCA is done to produce a graph which is shown in the next slide. This was the graph which we obtained after doing a PCA, and here we can see that there are two basic groups. The shown on the right hand side with darker colors are the control samples, and the scattered graph on the left with the lighter color dots are our positive samples. Now, analyzing this, we can see that there is almost a 2% increase in viral transcription when we use SAHA as a reactivation agent, and there is also a very slight increase in the viral transcription, not significant enough, done by azacitidine. Now, interleukin 7 seems to have a very slower effect when compared to SAHA. It's almost 1.2%. And in all of the sample, DMSO values are used as our control for cell line. Now, the differentially expressed genes and gene ontology pipeline looks something like this. Now, before we see our graphs and the differentially expressed genes, the data which we got was adjusted according to the p adjacent value, which was taken to be less than 0.01%, and we filtered all the genes and discarded all the other results. Then we also filtered genes which were greater than 1 or less than -1 of log to fold change, and kept the remaining almost 2100 genes for further analysis. Now, the differentially expressed gene analysis plot came something like this. Here we can see T cell activation, regulation of lymphocyte activation, regulation of cell adhesion. These were the most significant pathways that HIV reactivation follows. And this is the volcano plot, and here we can see that genes on the right hand side of the x-axis, like on the positive side of the x-axis, are upregulated, whereas genes on the negative side of the x-axis are downregulated. And on the y-axis, the genes are scattered based on how significant they are. The most significant genes are on the top, and while the least significant genes are on the bottom. So here we can see that TAT3, DDX11, RSPH1 are some of the most significant upregulated genes which we will be looking from here. And from the data that TAC-C, we know that it is a G protein coupled receptor and is a gene which is activated during the cell signaling pathway. Now, the conclusion of the result is that the PCA graph show the stimulants such as SAHA and interleukin 7 plays important role in reactivation of HIV latent virus gene. The differentially expressed gene analysis shows that T cell activation is the most weighted pathway which triggers HIV provirus latency to break, which confirms our finding that from the PCA plot that the external reactivation agents plays important role in T cell activation pathways. Now, the level of expression of this provirus HIV gene is highly dependent on the path by which the T cell has been reactivated. So we will be looking into that in our studies. Now, moving on beyond the scope of this project, like till now we have done transcriptomics on the data which we got, and we were very, means I was very surprised to see so much amount of data that we can, further analyze. But there is a secondary thing which we can also use to cure HIV provirus reinfections, and that is using the CRISPR-Cas9 mechanism to silence the virus if appropriate sites are mutated in the noroviral gene. Now, the most adaptable Cas9 endonuclease are from Streptococcus pyogenes and Streptococcus aureus, which generates a DSB directed by 20 nucleoside guide RNA fused with a scaffold RNA. Now, there are mainly two types of Cas9 depending on which organism we took it from, and they recognize a slight different type of sequence which we can use to mutate our HIV proviral gene at different sites. Now, this can prove a very beneficial method to target individually all the HIV genes in the body and can be proving as a nice therapy to eradicate HIV. But it is sort of beyond the scope of this project, so I kept it in further discussions. So I would be wrapping up my presentation here. Thank you.